blended family for a Monday episode. And today we're saying conferences, summits, and blended families. Oh my.
Ooh.
Conferences and summits and blended family. Oh my. Conferences and summits and blended families. Oh my.
Okay, stop. You're stressing me out.
Did you feel like you were the Wizard of Oz, like on the Yellow Brick Road?
Yes.
Did you?
Yes.
Did you really?
No.
Oh, so
I felt
sad.
like you were wearing me out.
Oh.
Well, and you might have noticed that like we have a theme going on here lately at enjoying your blended family. And we are just trying to share with you different ways that you can gain more blended family knowledge and strengthen your family, strengthen yourself, strengthen your marriage. So you may feel like Randall over here with your conferences and
Summits and blended families. Oh my.
because we've just
That's just fun
been
to say.
throwing out all of these places or all these things that you can do. We just want you to know what's available because for so long we didn't think there was anything available.
Yeah, so there are a lot of things available. We're going to talk about a few more of those today, so y'all stay tuned.
All right. So conferences, summits, and blended families. Oh my.
That's just catchy, isn't it? I mean,
Oh
come on.
my. Yes, it is a little catchy. And you may be thinking like conferences and summits, what the heck? What is that?
What the what? What the what? What is conferences? What is summits?
Or maybe you know, like I know conferences, but summits was like a new thing to me. I didn't really know what a summit was until really here lately, like during pandemic time, I started seeing summits pop up everywhere.
Well, I think conferences as well, unless you're like in a teaching world or education world, a lot of times, like I know my previous employment, what I was doing for 20 years, I didn't know what a conference was. I mean, that's not, I knew nothing. You know nothing, Jon Snow. It's like one of those. I didn't know anything, but it wasn't until, a job change and then it was more of an educational that I started hearing about conferences and things of that. And I'm like, oh, okay, cool. So, yeah, I think it really depends on what your job is, what your job detail is, on really what you know about it. And ultimately, all conferences is it's just a group of people, a larger group of people coming together, sometimes over a few hours to maybe over a weekend. And it's a lot of valuable information on specific topics. So like in the education world, if you're a teacher, you're going to a conference and you're learning all about teaching tactics or teaching new things that have been discovered, or, it's a way to take where you're at and just enhance what you're doing, basically.
Yeah, and they used to have like breakout sessions and like topics that you can go specifically. So like say if it was a blended family conference, you might break out and go to a class on co-parenting specifically because that's what you're needing help with, or strengthening your marriage because that's what you're needing help with. So they have those type things in there as well. Like I know we were going to conferences a lot when I was at the Methodist church because we had women's conferences, and we would go as a group together to these conferences and stay overnight or something. And it was always just a good time.
Yeah. And summits, kind of the same thing. That's really, you could use summit and conferences interchangeably. So I think now in today's time, more virtual online things, you're hearing more summits.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking. I always connect summit with like online stuff and more of like a day. Like whereas a conference might span from a Friday night to a Sunday afternoon, a summit I think of, is that right or wrong?
No, summits can also be multiple days as well. So you see summits, especially like in business, a lot of entrepreneur summits and things like that, really building into businesses, that you see a lot of summits there. You see blended family summits now. We're starting to see some of those, and we're going to get into that. We'll talk about that here in a minute, but we're going to kind of share the benefits as well with summits and as we go along with this. And then we're also going to share ways that you can connect, how you can take this into your family too. So we're going to talk about those, but really conferences and summits are just a lot of information over a short period of time. We had a podcast episode a few weeks back that we talked on connect groups. And connect groups are, it's kind of the similar topics to where it is all specific based. It's groups being formed, but your connect groups are more small. That's more of a smaller group, and it's over a longer duration of time.
And it's more like local, like a specific group of people that are following through.
Correct. Yeah. So you're building relationships, friendships over a specific topic, and you're doing it over weeks at a time, to whereas a summit or a conference is more just a large body of people that you may never see again, but they're like-minded, right? They're all the same, kind of coming together, and you're doing it over a very short period of time and getting a lot of information. Like, I know some conferences and summits I've been to, at the end of them, I'm like on information overload because it's been so much, but I'm walking away saying, this was so awesome.
Wow,
like,
yeah.
I need to take some time to really go and unpack all this because it was just a lot at once. So, both connect groups have a great benefit, and conferences and summits have a great benefit as well. Just to help us as parents, to help us as families, to help us in blended family situations, right? So we can use these conferences and summits to really add more benefit to us and make us better parents.
I see it kind of like the way we talk about traveling, vacation, and that kind of stuff versus dating and hanging out with your family. Like the travels and the vacations, when you're going away, it's usually something you do less often.
Right.
It's like a once a year thing, maybe twice a year, where you're planning those times in, because it is so much information. If you're constantly just taking in, you don't have time to go and just try putting that stuff into action. I was talking with a friend the other day that was having some blended family issues, and they had went to a marriage conference, and she said, yeah, he always goes, he's willing, but then we never go home and do the work, so it's like taking in that information and then going and actually putting it into action. Whereas like the connect groups is more like that ongoing
accountability of
yes.
implementing it into your lives. So
Yeah.
both play very good parts because you're getting exposed to just information you may not know, or you may hear it a different way this time that hits you a different way because you're in a different season of your life. So yeah, good stuff. And really this kind of stirred up with us just the importance of it again, because we had the privilege of being able to go to the Family Life. They do a Blended and Blessed conference is what they do. And they had one just, a couple of weeks ago for us, kind of when we're recording this podcast now, but yeah, it was a couple of weeks ago, actually last week.
Yeah, that was last week.
That we went to this, and it just so happened we had been, we're in the blended family realm, of course, because we love bringing just information to you. We want your family to be as equipped as possible. We want you to have so many tools in your tool shed. It's like, I can build anything, right? I mean, that's kind of our hearts, is just to really be able to pour in that. But we also want it to be fun tools. So, we want you to have a lot of fun while you're doing this. So that's kind of our hearts. But we started researching. It's like, okay, well, is there anything kind of close, or, conferences, summits, what's out there right now? And, as our research, we found Blended and Blessed was coming, but we're like, oh my God, it is coming like to Houston, and we're not far from Houston. So I was like, this is awesome, because they were hosting this to where you could either come in person or you could watch it virtual. So
Which
it's
is so awesome that you have that option. Like if you don't live in Houston, that you can still join virtually, because we've joined virtually to other conferences before as well. But to be a part of the crowd and get the energy and the excitement, yes,
for sure. It was just like, yes, this worked out. And before really the online world is what it is today, these conferences, you would have to take time out of your life. You'd have to fly over to wherever it's being hosted at, get hotel rooms, things of that. Even if if you were doing it in person and you didn't live close enough, you'd have to do that. But this one just so happened we were close enough to where it's like, man, we're just a drive away, so let's do this. So yeah, it was so awesome. It was such great time. It was a one-day experience. Like, we got there it started at 9 a.m. and ended about 3. So, it was like an all-day conference, but it had a lot of breaks in between. They fed you lunch, things like that.
This one was incredible because the price, I mean, sometimes these conferences, they are a little more pricier because you're paying a hotel and food and stuff, being away from home. It does add up, which is why I think you do it less often as well. But the Blended and Blessed conference, Family Life's just doing it well to where, you're spending $20, right? I think we spent on a ticket or something like that.
It was very low cost. But if you don't know anything about the Blended and Blessed Conference, basically that's fed off of Family Life Blended, which is run and hosted by Ron Deal. If you've never heard of him, once we started getting into the blended family coaching is whenever we really got exposed to Ron Deal and how long he's been in this blended family realm, really pouring in resources, knowledge.
He's like the guru. Families. He's been doing it for like 30 years. So he was around when we were raising our kids and we had no idea.
Yeah, really, because it wasn't really out there much. It wasn't talked about much, not like it is today. And hopefully 10 years from now, there's going to be so many resources, so many connect groups and conferences for blended families that it's just going to be a normal thing. So we're really watching this early stages of this revelation, whatever you want to call it, that's happening for blended families because we need it. We need our families strong. We're tired of feeling like an outcast, right? We're tired of not knowing how to handle some of these challenges, but being more equipped. And so that's kind of the cool thing. And Ron Deal has kind of helped be some of the voice in there and pave the path for people like us to be able to come and continue pouring in. But
really, though, he was the only one that we had heard his name before.
Yeah.
So that was kind of cool. Kind of cool. And at first we're like, who are these other people? But man, they blew us away.
Yeah, really. But they hosted Blended and Blessed here in Houston at a church that just hosted them, and Houston's first, so that,
give them a shout out, because they are doing, if you live in the Houston area, they are catering to blended families. They have blended family small groups.
Yeah, they really do. They have a blended family connect group there. So that's like mind blowing as well. So it's like, kudos to y'all, man. Great job. And so many people from their church were there serving for this event. So yeah, just a big shout out to them, their hearts, their church, just pouring into the blended family community. So it really was. It was great. And it was one of those where, like we said, you could do you watch it virtual, or you could go in person, but they had just a powerhouse of guest speakers. And that's what's cool about these conferences is normally it's not just one person talking, but it's multiple people that have been in there, learned a lot, and now they're just sharing that information. And so they really did. They had such a good guest speaker lineup that, we really were. We had a lot of fun. And then their host, Rob, he was funny. They had a funny host there that kind of did all the in-between stuff. Houston's First led worship at the beginning, so we got to worship to kick it off. I
think that was like part of, you go to a lot of conferences and stuff, and you learn a lot of information, but not a lot of them do like what they did here, where we had worship as a part of it and we had prayer as a part of it as well. So I love that they added those two things in there.
And then not just that, like we got to hear guest speakers. They had resource table kind of out in the lobby, so all your breaks you could walk and just check everything out. But then they also did a thing where you could submit questions. So whether you were there or watching virtual, they had it to where you could submit any question you had. Maybe a guest speaker had said something, you're like, hey, I want some more information. What about this, or what about that? Or, whatever was on your heart, you could ask, you could send it in. And then they got to a lot of those questions. They did a panel. So all the guest speakers came back up and they were asked a lot of these questions that the people watching were able to give them. And they were answering it on the fly, and just being able to hear their real honest answers. There was a lot of laughter with this conference, so a lot of humor. Give it up to Kathy Lip. She was just... Yeah,
she's hilarious. So follow her on Instagram.
So yeah, just kind of running down the list. I mean, Willie and Rachel Scott were there. Gayla Grace was there. Ron and his wife, Nan Dill, were there, along with Kathy Lip. So all of them, phenomenal job. Thank you for hosting that. Just great stuff. It really was. So that was just a recent conference, blended specifically for blended families, that we were able to just attend, and was really cool. I think one of the coolest parts about it is we had one of our listeners that was there at the conference too. And we got to connect and just be able to say hey and everything.
So shout out to Kayla and her fiance. Yes. So it was really neat to be sitting there And she sends me a Facebook message and just says, hey, I hope this isn't too weird, but we're actually sitting behind you at the conference and I'd love to meet you afterwards. And I was just so excited because, her and I have had a lot of conversations just through social media, and to know that she's so close and then to be able to meet her in that way, I was like, this is so exciting. Yes, we're best friends forever.
So it is really cool. Like these conferences and things, it's a way for us all to be able to connect and meet and stuff too. So it's another thing to say, you're not alone. We're all here. We're all human. And we just love being able to connect in that way. So conferences, man, that was just fun. That was a fun conference, and it was really recent. They try to do these one a year. So that was this 2022. So yeah, really cool. And then summits, like we were actually, there was a summit that we did, not that we did, but we were actually able to be guest speakers on back in October, called The Courageous Parents Standing for Their Families, led by Dina LaRosa. And that was just so cool to be a part of. That was all virtual. So that was just something that you could watch online, and several guest speakers. We were one of them. We were so excited and just honored that they would invite us to speak.
Yeah, they had them like back to back, like were the hour sessions or like 30-minute sessions, something like that. Sessions. So you're able to just sit there. We blocked the day out. It was, I think that one might have actually been in the work week, but we've had some that have been virtually that are on the weekend, but we just blocked that time off just as if we were going there and doing that. And then we planned our schedule around it, and we would listen. We were speakers, but we also stayed and listened to the other people because they just had such valuable information. We get like stuck in our own little bubbles on like what's going on in our family, and we don't always think of like outside of the box ways to see it from different perspectives or just learn other resources that are out there for us. So it was really cool to hear different people and their different perspectives on topics.
For sure. And that's how we learn, right? I mean, it's like going to school and hearing from different people or different teachers and things. You hear things differently. And even if you're maybe well-versed in some areas, we will never know it all. That's just the truth. We can always learn. And the more we learn, the wiser we get, the better parents we are, the better families we can raise and things of that. So, it's just that's kind of a lot of the theme here over the past few weeks, is just some of these opportunities to be able to gain more knowledge and information, just like you're doing listening to a blended family podcast, right? I mean, this is just on the weekly that you're able to tune in and get some stuff. These are just some great ways that you can add to that, to where you get a lot of value in a short period of time. So they all of these avenues have such great value to it. So it's really just kind of bringing the awareness that, hey, these things are out there and how powerful that they can be. So kind of talking about that, what are some of the benefits that you get from the conference summit Blended Families? Oh my.
That again. I think just mostly being around people that are going through the same thing that you are. Those like-minded people that have experienced it or they're walking through it, and that you're able to sit with them and learn from them and really see that you're not alone. Yeah. Like you're not alone in this journey that you're on, that there's other people that are walking through it and that have survived it. Because there's sometimes when you're...
That's the big thing. They survived.
Yes. When you're in the middle of it or at the beginning of it, I mean, and that's what, just like us meeting Kayla at the conference, she's just engaged. Plus we sat with a couple at the conference at lunch that they were just dating. They weren't even quite engaged yet.
They weren't engaged. They were just dating, and she had a child and he did not. And they were just gaining all this valuable information before they even started a family. They're just possibly thinking about maybe taking those next steps. And we were just so impressed with them. It's like, kudos to y'all.
Yeah, because not only like they're serving, that's one. Yeah. They're serving this event. Then they're sitting and already learning from these experts. And yet when they came and sat with us at the lunch table, they were asking questions because they were so hungry because they're at that beginning stage and they want to be successful. And that's the same thing like that Kayla was saying, like, you know, I'm walking into this and I want to know like what I'm up against. I want to know how to do this right. So getting all that information, and then you get in the middle of it and you feel like, what did I get myself into? Like, oh my gosh. And so you're able to just see like, okay, those people felt like I feel, and they have relationships with their kids, or they made it on the other side and they're still married.
What did you do?
Yes.
I want to know.
Tell me what you did.
Give me all the inside secrets and everything. And it really is. It's, you know, like us, we didn't do that. We just married and saw the roses on the other side. And then we got looking, it's like, man, these are dead roses. What's happening?
Where's
here?
all these thorns?
There's so many thorns. What's happening in the world? Hey, B fam, we'll be back in just a minute. Check this out. Have you joined our Enjoying Your Blended Family email group yet? It's a free thing to be a part of. This is another great way for us to stay connected. We send out an email once a week that is blended family specific. We share all kinds of encouragement and keep you informed with anything that's coming up. You'll be one of the first ones to know. It's a great family community to be a part of. But when you join our group, we want to give you our new free This or That blended family game. Well, we added 2 more bonus games, so really you're getting 3 games you can play with your family. These games are easy and fun, but they can also help you discover things that you have in common with each other. It can open up fun conversations and really just give you ideas for planning fun things to do in the future with your family. We truly believe that the more fun you have together, the less problems you can see. So join our Enjoying Your Blended Family group today and get your free copy of our new This or That blended family games. The link is in the show notes, so see you there. Now back to this episode. Mm-hmm. So I was picturing the Wicked Witch being melted. I'm melting. Oh, keeping the Wizard of Oz.
You were in Oz today.
I'm in Ozland.
Sometimes he gets in these themes and I'm not there. I'm not. I'm just doing my thing. And
what a world.
I love themes, but he didn't invite me to the party beforehand. So I should have known.
I'll make an invitation next time.
Should have known from the title, but didn't pick up his hints.
But, just being impressed with people that are hungry for this information and that are able to get the information before they even get started. So no matter where you're at on your journey, even if you're thinking about blended families and being a part of one, these conferences and summits are powerful. And then even if you're knee deep in it and you're just like problems up to your neck, these conferences and summits are powerful. You won't hear me say it enough, but you're getting so much information. But yeah, it really was. So being able to connect with like-minded people, some that may have been there, done that, some that are on the same path, some that are a little below you. So it's just a mixture of all of us as blended families.
Yeah, and another one of the benefits of doing these conferences and summits is the resources that you get. Yeah. Things that you may have never heard of before in your life, and then they say something, you're like, how did this exist and nobody has ever told me? Why?
There was a book on this?
Well, like one of the cool things I think is us being at this conference and we're in the blended family realm. Like we're digging and trying to find all this information, but I didn't know that Family Life Blended had an app. And so we were using the app because that was like your way of like scanning to get in and that type thing. And that's how you could submit your question in there. And they only got through like 6 questions and there were hundreds of questions put in. So then they had said, we're going to cover these. Ron and then Gayla, right?
Gayla, they run a podcast as well. So
they were going to answer some of these questions on there. And then they showed you like in the conference how you can go in the search bar on this app and it will pull up whatever topic. So if you're struggling with the grandparents when it comes to your blended family, they're not accepting your kids in or what have you, you type that in and then all their podcasts on that topic come up. Yeah. Isn't that incredible?
It is. So there's so many things that you learn just, resource-wise whenever you're there that just help you. I mean, you're there because you want to know more, and then now you're connecting with all different types of resources and stuff that are there for you. So great. Yeah, and it all ties into, really the last big benefit is all the information you get. You get so much information. It can feel like a lot at once to where you're walking away going, oh my goodness. Like I said, I've been to some conferences before to where I'm walking away and my mind is shot. I mean, it was so much at one time that I'm like, oh my, I don't even know where I'm starting. But
we're so different personalities. Like I hear all that and I'm like, let's get this going. Let's do it now. I was like that as a teacher. Go to a conference. By Monday morning, I have my class rearranged with all the stuff that I learned, and my co-teacher, she'd be like, what just happened? You didn't even give me a warning. And I'm like, I'm sorry. I'm just so excited. And so I'll like come from these things and I want to talk more about it. I want to plan it out. I want to figure it out. And Randall's like, I need silence.
I need to process. I need to process all this. But just a note, when you do go to one of these or you're watching virtual, have a pad and have a pen. Always take notes, because if not, you will walk away and you'll forget it all. And you'll be like, what did they say? So you always have something to reference by. So
I know with this one, I was writing so many like word nuggets of like, oh, this is going to be a good quote on our Instagram, or, so powerful for us to share. It was just little words of wisdom.
So really, you pull so much information. It's so good. So summits, conferences, blended families. Oh my.
I'm on the same page now.
Okay, so those are all the benefits. Kind of whenever we're sharing these things, we also like going into, well, how can I connect? What are things that I can do to be a part of things like this? And I look at Scarlett and I'm like, tell me, please do tell me. And she's like, I don't know. So I'm going to take the lead here about that.
I was just so interested in what you were talking about.
This is her ADHD mind. It's just like,
share with me. What are those ways?
Well, kind of like the Family Life Blended, the Blended and Blessed Conference. I know one thing that they have is the All Access Pass. So you got the All Access Pass to where you can actually purchase that conference. Mm-hmm. So even though you weren't there, maybe you missed it, you can still go to the Blended and Blessed 2022 and you can buy an All Access Pass. I think it's like $20, $25, something like that. We were fortunate enough, which is crazy. Like,
so we've been winning a lot lately.
We won an All Access Pass. Like they were giving one away at that conference. But they would only give it away if you did a picture and you submitted it and hashtagged it.
So of course I had us take a selfie and I submitted it. And we were sitting there during one of the breaks before it started back up, and they're like, Randall and Scarlett Tandy. And we're like,
they're like, who's won this? And we're like, wait, what?
I was like, Price is Right. Like, yeah.
Did we come on down?
I was like, you want me to come down now? And he's like, no.
Just hold up.
Sit, wait.
So we actually won one. So we're trying to figure out, how can we use this to be a blessing for our listeners and stuff like that. So, we'll figure that one out. But you can get an All Access Pass to where you get that conference. All the guest speakers, they've got them there. And they even have another, like a level up, like a bonus to where you can get the bigger one to where you get like the year before.
No, all of them, all 8 years.
Yeah, well, I was looking, it's only 2021 and 2022. So I think they're only doing the last two. That might have changed. I'm not sure, but
I thought they said all 8.
You can check that out. But you can get the past speakers and stuff like that too. So that's one way. Some of these conferences that you can buy the conference even after the fact. So being able to look there, that's one way. Online is just searching like we did. This is how we found it. We just got online and searched, with blended family conferences, is there anything? And so we were able to find this one, and it just so happened the timing, everything was total God thing. And so it was really cool.
They also have, like, if you're looking for things near you too, if you're on Facebook and then you just go to the events section and type in like blended family and see if anything pops up, because they may have something around you closer, and they usually make a Facebook event. It's a pretty popular thing to do when you have these so that they can advertise it more. So that's another option as well.
Yeah, so definitely checking your local stuff out. So you can have local stuff, online things. So really it's just kind of shopping around or Google searching and seeing. And then some of the past conferences, they'll offer just ways that you can purchase it and then still gain the information after the fact. And then kind of the last thing we'll share is join our Facebook group. So if you're not a part of Enjoying Your Blended Family Facebook group, not the page, but the group, we want you to like the page. But
like the page, follow the page. Basically, the Facebook page takes what we post on Instagram and post it on the page as well. But
so we kind of that's a place where we can kind of stay connected. But our group, we're able to connect on a group level. And so, but with that, anytime that we hear of conferences, summits, new things, connect groups, things like that, anything that we're doing, we share it with the group. So we're gonna you'll see us posting and stuff and just being involved there. So be sure that you go and join the group. It is a public group. We got a private group, but we'll talk about that another day. But the public group, join that. It's Enjoying Your Blended Family, and we'll push stuff there anytime that we hear something. That way you're in the know, and you can jump on board. Maybe you'll get a chance to where we can all meet and hang out at some of these things too. So that's kind of cool. The last thing is join our email list. So if you're not a part of our weekly email list, then there's a link in the show notes, kind of at the very bottom, ways to connect. And it says, join our newsletter. And that's what that is, our email list. Because every week I send an email out that's specific to what we're talking about and just pour more value, able to connect in different ways. But we also stay informed there too. We try to keep you informed with anything that we find out. We share that. So connect in our Facebook group and then connect to our email list. If you're not a part of those, go do that. That's really cool. And then just kind of to wrap this up, I kind of share a story. We got to meet Ron Dill.
Yes, we did.
So yeah, it was, I made it as awkward as I could.
Well, okay, so back it up just a little bit. First, we were like, we cannot be this close and not like shake his hand and maybe get a selfie. Like we got to do this.
Just kind of say thank you for what you're doing,
But Randall and I, we've shared the story like in social media and stuff before. We had the opportunity to meet Taylor Swift, and like he's so natural talking to people that it's like just comes easy to him, and I can get really awkward. And so I got really awkward with Taylor Swift, and Randall's over there just making besties with the band and everything. So I was like, you take the lead and I'll just stand there and nod.
Well, but the funny thing is she does this like right when we're like, sometimes there's a line and everything, but there was someone talking with Ron this after the conference. Some time had gone by, and there was somebody up there talking with Ron at the time, and we're like, we're so close. Let's go introduce ourselves and just say, hey, thank you. And so we go up there and we just kind of sitting there waiting. And right before he finishes with that person, she looks at me and she says, hey, I'm going to let you take the lead. And I'm like, it's like this whole time thing that I have. You put a time limit on me, I just freeze.
So you think if I wouldn't have said anything, you would have just went up there and just like schmoozed him?
Maybe so. I think I got it in my head. So anyways, Ron comes up, and he probably doesn't even remember us. We're probably just another people in a conference. But he comes up, and I like freeze, and he says, tell me your name. And I'm like, my name is Randall. And it's like, this is my wife, Scarlett.
I have a name.
I have a name. It's just totally stupid and awkward. Right? And then I started just thanking him, like, thank you for, everything that you've done and all this. And then I go, and God led us last year to help with blended families. And, I can see him like, oh, nice, smiling, looking past us and everything. Like, is there anybody else?
I mean, Randall didn't sound that robotic.
It probably wasn't that bad.
It wasn't that bad.
In my head, it was pretty bad.
But, yeah, in the moment, it was just like, we had like this,
I had one shot.
2 minutes of possibly like,
disconnecting and yeah, just saying thank you, pulling from his wisdom. And
next time I'll take the lead.
Yeah. Sorry, Ron. I know you probably won't remember us, but
no, I believe that one day Ron is going to be on our podcast.
Maybe we can get him on our podcast, and I can apologize for the awkwardness, but who knows?
Or maybe he is so awkward through the whole podcast. Y'all can like just sit back and get your popcorn and watch a train wreck.
I might blow it, so who knows? But anyways, good stuff. Now it really is. So connecting in conferences and summits are that's another great tool that you can use in your blended family to be able to really add that value and gain a lot of wisdom from people that have been there, done that.
Can I say one thing before you wrap up?
So I think,
well, just like my friend that was saying they went to the marriage conference and that her husband, he doesn't do the things afterwards. So it's so good to gain all of this, but take those little pieces, those notes that you took, and pick one thing to start with. Pick something that you and your spouse, or even if it's just you at the conference, that you can start implementing, and then do that and start getting good at it, and then pick something else, because there is so much. And you can be like me, that want to come back from those things and I want to change everything. And the rest of my family is like, whiplash, what's happening here? And I'm like, nope, this is how we're doing it now. Because if you're hearing from 4 or 5 different speakers, they may have all these different suggestions. Some of them might even be opposite. A lot of times when you're learning stuff, people have these different things of how it worked for them. And so you're just like all over the place.
So good stuff. Take it, but you do have to, put it into action. Some of these things that you hear. And it was so good. I mean, they talked, even this conference that we went to talked on co-parenting. They talked about step-parent relationships, and some of the speakers that had, I say younger kids, but, the kids were different ages, and then you had another speaker to where their kids were adults now, and, they entered whenever they were like later teenage year. So you just had all these different perspectives, because there are so many blended family dynamics out there. So you just kind of get a good taste of all of it. So
that reminded me, because it was all around the crock pot theory.
It was a good blend is what it was called. So
a good blend happens in a crock pot, not in a blender or not in a microwave. So all the different topics we're talking about food, and about like your spicy kid and your sweet kid and all that stuff. So it was just the way that they did it to really like capture your attention and help you remember. So
yeah, good stuff. So conferences, summits, and blended families.
Oh my. Finally, I'm with you.
Good stuff. So get connected to our Facebook group and join our email list. And anytime we hear these things, we'll let you know. We'll keep you in the know as well. So listen, love you guys. We will see you on the next episode. Later.
Bye.
Hey, thanks for joining us today for another episode of Enjoying Your Blended Family. All the links we've talked about today, they're in the show notes below. If you've enjoyed listening, be sure to subscribe below. It's free, and it lets you know when we have another episode for you to listen to.
And if you want to help us out, leave us a rating and review so that we can keep reaching more people. Until next time, remember to enjoy the moment.